Hello, what's up guys? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC Vegas 11, UFC on ESPN, something, I don't know what it is. Colby Covington against Tyron Woodley thought is our main event. Finally this fight's happening. Probably a couple of years too late, but still, it's happening. Just sorry for getting this out late in the week. I've had a rough week. I've not been feeling too great. I've had stuff going in my personal life, which has been kind of crazy. Today I had a knife pulled out on me when I was at work trying to stop a thief. So yeah, this week's been a messed up week. I'm kind of looking forward to getting through Friday, getting through Saturday, getting to the fights here. So yeah, messed up week. Looking forward to talking some fights, looking forward to watching some fights before we head back to Fight Island next week. This is a bumper card. It's like 15 fights, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will come through tomorrow and we'll have a full slate of fights. It'd be great for DraftKings if this was the case for 15 fights. Wouldn't surprise me if we lose a fight or two, possibly, you know, the way kind of things have been going recently, but hopefully it stays intact, and we've got a full 15 fight card there. So appreciate you guys in the chat there. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you can throw a like and a comment in there, it'd be awesome, because that helps with the analytics and gets more people to view in, hopefully. So let me know if you've got any bets. Let me know if you've got any things you want to kind of talk about regarding this fight card. Any DraftKings picks you want to throw my way, by all means do it. Throw it in there. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. So I'm going to get into this right now. I'm just going off what I see on Wikipedia here, guys. There's been some fight changes. There's been some people but, I'm okay noise from where I'm working. I don't like it. Went after him, which I have done for nearly 10 years, and the guy, for the first time ever, pulled out a 6-inch blade and started swiping at me. And yeah, so that was a little bit of a shock to the system. But I think I'll learn from now on and maybe just keep my distance and let them have it. But I just don't like thieves. Nobody likes dirty, rotten thieves. So yeah, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be good. Hopefully they catch the guy. The way it's well known in the area, so hopefully they catch him. But let's get into this fight card here. Meerschaert against Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson's a guy that's just been added in the last couple of hours, I believe, and he's a former UFC vet. Went to a no contest. I think he fought Yancey. He lost there initially. Lost to Leavinash McFilly. I think, in fact, that was a draw. And then he lost to, who did he lose to? Yeah, he lost to Ronnie Jason. That was it. But then he got popped for genetics, and then he went to a draw with Levan. That was a little bit of a dirty fight. There was an eye poke. There was a illegal knees. There was all types of things. He got released from the UFC. Went on a bit of a run there. Beat a couple of decent guys. Levi Moles. Nate Jerman's okay. He lost to Kalbalayev in the PFL. But he's a guy to me that likes to kind of get the fight to the ground and try and dominate from the ground. I don't think he'll do that against Meerschaert, even though Meerschaert is kind of blown up as a prospect. He was a guy that I had a lot of promise for way back when he fought in Manchester. I thought that was the spot he was going to really jump on. Never really made that big jump into the next guy he lost that fight to Darren Elkins, which he was dominating. Then he got knocked out. Beat Pepe, beat Lamas, but he's lost his last couple of fights, so his stock's definitely down. I think he rolls in this one here. I think that not unless Jackson catches a submission, he's just a little bit too probably well-rounded for someone like Damon Jackson. So I'm going to take Meerschaert for the win there. Tyson Nam against Jerome Rivera. I'm going to go Tyson Nam. Not super confident. I don't think you can ever really be super confident in Tyson Nam, because he is obviously a guy with massive power. We've seen that in his last fight when he beat Adeshev, who really probably shouldn't be in the UFC. We've seen that back in the day when he beat Eduardo Dantes. The guy's got very little volume, but when he does throw, he throws with fighting and power, and that's something you always have to be careful with. And he's usually quite a big flyweight, but Jerome Rivera is absolutely massive for the division. Big 5'10" flyweight, long reach, pretty dangerous in some parts of his game. I thought he got a little bit lucky against Rodriguez in the Dana White Contender Series. I thought that, I thought he kind of got a little bit lucky there, and surprised he got kind of brought into the UFC. He's a guy that's been in there with some decent guys. He was obviously in there with Royval. He got his leg, he got his arm kind of snapped there, which was kind of rough. But he's came back through. He's got himself a little streak, and he's got himself in the UFC. I think I wouldn't like to bet Tyson Nam like juice at the minute. I mean, what's he, minus 170? I think he is. I wouldn't like that. I think he wins, but I think he wins a low volume, just a typical Tyson Nam fight, a low volume kind of fight there where he kind of just comes through in the late stages of that one and just kind of wins a fairly comprehensive decision. If it was to go to the ground, Rivera's quite crafty down in there, so he could possibly get it done through that. But I'm going to take Tyson Nam. I'm going to take him via decision, but like I say, it's kind of hard to trust that guy at juice odds there. So I'm just going to move this out the road a little bit there. There we go. Miguel Baeza against Jeremiah Wells. I'll be honest, I've not seen much of Jeremiah Wells outside of absolute rotten knockout where he knocked the guy stiff. I've not had an opportunity to look into him. From what I hear from a few people that have messaged me, he says he's decent. He's well rounded in some spots, but Miguel Baeza should really move into this spot and kind of get another win in the UFC. Matt Brown was a good win. He took some shots in that one, which was a little bit uncomfortable if you were betting him in that spot, but eventually he started to land the killer blows, and every time he started to land on Matt Brown, he really started to hurt him in spots in that fight there. So like I said, I've not really watched anything of Jeremiah Wells, but my pick would have been Miguel Baeza even if this was matched up weeks ago. But like I say, I've not really watched much of Jeremiah Wells, and I've watched a little bit of Baeza. I've totally forgot who he was supposed to be against, actually. Mickey Gall. Oh, Jesus. He was going to win that fight. So, yeah, I've got Miguel Baeza. Not surprised that he's kind of got a short notice opponent here. They're trying to get these guys fights in before they go to Abu Dhabi. But I'll take Miguel Baeza for the win there. Derek Minor against TJ Laramie. I've got TJ in this one, but I think early on, Minor is just... he's very dangerous, he's very scrappy earlier on, but he tends to wilt as the fight kind of goes on. And you've seen that in the Grant Dawson fight. He kind of went for it straight off the bat, looked to try and get Grant Dawson out there, put him in a little bit of uncomfortable position. But once he got Grant Dawson really put his weight and everything into that one there, he was just kind of spiraling out of that fight. And Laramie to me is a really good, solid, well-rounded fighter. Puts it all together very, very well. Yeah, I like Laramie. I liked what I've seen on the Dana White Contender Series. Jack Attack, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, buddy. I'm all good. A little bit of a shock to the system, but I'm good. I liked what he did. I liked his footage out in the regional circuit. Can work into fights very. He can start off well, but can keep on working throughout the rounds and win rounds through that. He's been 5 rounds, I believe, a couple of times as well. So that always helps there. Like I say, if you're betting him, though, he is. I'll be honest. I was looking at betting him early on this week. He is. I want to say he's minus 300. I mean, I don't want to say that's risky. Because I think if this goes into the second round, and I think he probably looks every part of a minus 300, but it's just the outlier that I'm not too sure. He probably is the rightful favourite, maybe that high. Yeah, I'm going to take TJ Laramie. I think that he could actually get Derek Minor out of there. So I'll take him via TKO early round number 3 in that spot for me there. Andre Ewell against Erwin Rivera. Again, what I just seen Andre Ewell's line. What was that? Minus 220. Sheesh, I would hate to be laying the juice on that at that price. It's kind of shocking he's that high. Erwin Rivera, tough, scrappy dude. Fought pretty close against Al-Kazi. Fought well before that against Giga, coming in there on very short notice. Very tough, durable, hard-nosed guy. Will keep going for the entire 15 minutes. Can be put in bad spots, but will continue to find his way back to his feet. Andre Ewell, though, let me just bring this up. This was something that I was looking at. I think it's a big reach advantage for Andre Ewell. Now, I've never been super confident in Andre Ewell. But he's got an 8-inch reach advantage. He is very flighty on his feet. He uses angles well when he wants to. Aaron Rivera will stand in the pocket. He will try and bang with someone like Andre Ewell. But if Andre Ewell's smart, fights at length, maybe tries and mix up if he can. Not that he's got the greatest his overall grappling game. He's not really got much of that. But I mean, he's won a couple of fights in the UFC. I'm going to take Andre Ewell. I just think that he's a little bit more well versed in the feet. I think this is like with Rivera in his last fight, he knew that Alcácer was going to try and time those double legs and take the fight to the ground. I don't think he's going to get. Ewell's not going to do that. I'd be very, very surprised if you see him going in for double legs or stuff like that. So this stands on the feet. If he can initially rock someone like Andre Ewell, then he could potentially get him out of there. But I'm going to lean with Andre Ewell. I see a couple of people in there talking about Aaron Rivera, like plus 200. That's the spot you want to bet on if you're going to be betting in this fight here, because Andre Ewell at minus 220 is just not a spot I would like to invest in one little bit. So if you guys in the chat there who are talking about Rivera, if you're taking the shot on him, I wish you all the very, very best. I'm going to stay away from this fight. I've actually got a couple of bets already, and I'm going to probably make another bet as soon as I come off here. And there might be a couple more as we get into the weekend section here. But I'll take Andre Ewell. I think he can win a competitive decision there. Oh, wrong page, sorry. Johnny Newson against Randy Costa. Now, this is one where early on in the week I was very, very close to betting Randy Costa. And then I watched a couple more fights back again, and I just think him being still fairly green in the sport and with his record and so on, it's just kind of scaring me off a little bit. And maybe I was thinking, should I bet it at this odds? And the odds are like plus 115. I'm like, I'd probably like a little bit more, because Johnny Newson, to me, I've actually been quite impressed with Johnny Newson in the UFC. I thought that he's fought decent fights. You can see that he's got a lot of power. He's got some fairly decent hands. He can stand, he can crack, he can take a good shot. Coming off that loss to Ramos, I was actually pretty impressed with him. And like I say, he took some big shots, like a spinning back elbow in that one. Got taken down, and Ramos is very dangerous in a lot of those spots. Pilarti there, he knocked him out, beautiful counter right hand, got overturned for marijuana or something, which was just ridiculous. And now he's got a young Randy Costa here who, like I said, I like what I've seen. Very fast hands, very a lot of speed, a lot of variance with his strikes. But to me, I mean, he lost to Brandon Davis in his UFC debut, even though he outstruck him. Just the veteran savviness of Brandon really got him the win there with the submission. Then he came in against Boston Salmon. Beautiful knockout in the first round there. Like I say, I was very close to betting this one. I think this has potential to be very close. I can see probably Randy Costa being live early on in this fight, but I can see Johnny maybe working his way into this fight here and winning just with his overall fight game. I think he fights fairly decently, and like I say, he can take a shot, he can give a shot. Once he plants those feet and once he gets his counter shot striking on, he is very hard to kind of deal with. So I'm going to change my pick, my gut feeling on this pick, and go with Johnny Newson, even though I think that Randy Costa's got an opportunity. He's been at American Top Team. I was watching Dan Levy's interview with Tyson Shorty, and he asked if he represented Randy, and he didn't, but he's saying he's been at American Top Team for this one here. So I'm sure he's been getting good looks with some good guys down there in Florida. So yeah, I'm going to take Johnny Newson there. Jessica Rose Clark against Sarah Alpar. I'm going to take Jessica Rose Clark. I'm not even going to really speak about that fight because it's not one I've really looked into that much. I looked into Alpar, and I'm just yeah. I mean, let me just bring up the odds. Minus 230 and Jessica Rose Clark is a little bit. I'm just not sure. It's like women's MMA though. It's like those girls have an opportunity there. I mean, she's 9-4 as Sarah Alpar. Fights out the southpaw stance. She's making a UFC debut here. Like I say, I've not really looked into her too much, guys. Honestly, I've been really busy. I've been back to work this week, and I've had a whole lot of other things, and I've been ill. So, but would it surprise me if Jessica Rose Clark lost here? No, she's 9-6. And like I say, you guys in the chat there are talking about taking Alpar. Like I say, you're not going to bet Jessica Rose Clark at minus 230. If you can get plus 190, plus 200 in Alpar, then absolutely take that shot there. Like I say, I've really not watched anything, guys. There's certain fights that I just don't get around to watching, and this was one that was kind of bottom of the barrel that I didn't really want to watch too much. I'll probably get a little bit more time into it now that the Dana White Contender Series is out the road, because that's something that always catches my eye, seeing new fighters coming into the UFC. But I'm going to take Jessica Rose Clark, but if you guys in there are taking Alpar, then by all means, I wish you all the very, very best. Some are saying sub in round 3, that'll be interesting, that'll be good, a good prop bet for you if you take that. But I'm going to take Jessica Rose Clark, but that's really just a bum pick because I've really not looked into that fight, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah. Jordan Espinosa against David Dvorak. I've got a bet here. I bet this late last week when he was still at plus money. I'm a big fan of David Dvorak, but I've went and bet Jordan Espinosa. Oh, Betfair limited you, that's bollocks. Oh, that's shit. Yeah, Jordan Espinosa, I was really, really impressed with his last fight. That's the kind of fight that, even though he was getting backed up to the fence and he was getting kind of pushed there, I didn't like to see that. But what he was shown in that fight was that, I mean, Mark De La Rosa hasn't won a fight in the UFC, don't think he will win a fight in the UFC. His wife's won more fights in the UFC, so yeah, it is what it is with that one there. He was really trying to spam him up against the cage, try to take him down, and try to get his jiu-jitsu game working, but he was showing that he was stronger. He could get some takedowns in that fight, he did that, and he had far more output. He just kept on going, even when he was pushed against the fence. He was just landing so many shots that were hurting Mark De La Rosa, and he's a guy that I've liked, but I've been a little bit worrisome about his cardio. But he showed in that one that he could go hard. He built his confidence well in that one, and I think he's got some wrestling there if he decides to use it. We've seen that a little bit. We've seen it in Eric Shelton. He got a takedown there. Dvorak, I mean, he came in his UFC debut. I think he was an underdog. I was surprised at that against Bueno Silva. He did get hurt a little bit. He did get taken down, which is a little bit something that I don't really like. But he was landing nice, fluid strikes there. He was catching them with his shots right at the end of his shots, and he was starting to put it on there. So, like I said, I like Dvorak. I just think this is a good spot for Espinosa. I bet him at plus 110. It's now a pick'em. I think that's where this fight should be, honestly. I think it's very well matched, very closely matched. It could be very, very close. I saw value at plus 110. I jumped on that. On Jordan Espinosa, I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded than what David is at this point. A little bit more experienced, probably against some better caliber guys. That's nothing to take away from David, but I'm going to take Jordan Espinosa for the dub there. Who we got? Mayra Bueno Silva against Mara Romero Borella. I like Silva in this spot, and I know I'm going on. I've said this about a couple of girls on here already, or at least Jessica Rose Clark. You don't want to bet girls at minus 230, minus 240, minus 250. Silva to me at minus 250, I think is a good parlay piece, because I think Romero Borella is out. I think she's going to be absolutely. I think she's going to be out the UFC after this. I think she's been. I don't think she was ever that great to begin with. She's very opportunistic with her attacks and her submissions and so on. But I just like what I see from Silva. I think she's better on the feet. I think she's better on the ground. I don't see where Mara Romero is going to really trouble her in this spot unless she can get the back. She's obviously got a lot more experience here. But I love what I've seen from Mayra Bueno Silva. She's a mean girl, so she has this one. Come out there, submitted Gillian Robertson, even though her leg was kind of hanging off. Lost that fight against Marina Moroz? Yeah, I think it was Marina Moroz, where Moroz really put on great boxing. She looked as good as she ever has. She mixed in some takedowns. So take nothing away from it there. This is a complete fade in my opinion in Mara Romero Borella. I think that she is on her way out. I think that she's lost her last 3 fights. She's been stopped in a couple of those there. Courtney Casey caught on the ground. I think once that fight hits the ground, even on the feet, I think she should mix her up. But I think Barella's going to reach in for something or try and get a takedown. I feel that Silva's going to get on top. She's either going to pound her out or she's going to find a way to a submission or an armbar or something. So I'm very confident that Silva can get this done. I think she can get it done inside the distance. So I'm probably going to parlay her up with another guy, another person further up the card that we're going to get into very, very soon. In fact, it's the next fight. Kevin Holland against Darren Stewart is the next one here. And I like big mouth in this one, even though I've said in my videos in the past that betting Kevin Holland is a sweaty, sweaty time. It's not a great time in spots, and I've had that, but then I've tried to fade him against Anthony Hernandez, which was a terrible bet on my part, like a really terrible bet. Like I said, I bet him in the John Phillips fight, I bet him in the Meerschaert fight, I parlayed him up, I think, in the Di Chirico fight as well, and he came through, but it was so sweaty. Lost to Brendan Allen, which I was lucky that I didn't go anywhere near him there. And like I said, I tried to fade him against Anthony Hernandez, which was just a bad spot. And then he looked amazing against Buckley. Buckley was coming in short notice. I think it was a week, 6 days notice, round about that spot there. He gave a kind of decent account of himself, but to me, Holland was just, he was fantastic in that fight. He was finally using his length with his striking. He was really hurting him at the end of his shots. He was stopping the kind of athletic, explosive athleticism that Buckley was bringing to the table. And he really just pieced him up in the feet and then got that beautiful knockout in the third round. Buckley's going to be a guy you keep an eye on. I think he's got a little bit of potential to win some fights in the UFC, but Kevin Holland's got far too much experience. I mean, he's got like 25 probably pro fights. Darren Stewart, to me, is a really good fighter. He's a guy that you can never rule out. I picked Maki Pitolo and he came out there and gets a guillotine choke, which is something we've not seen from him in a long, long time as a submission. He's more of these ground and pound guys. But he's a guy that's got some fairly decent output, can stop some takedowns. I know in the Dern one fight he still got him down, but for the most part he can... actually, thinking about it now, maybe I was saying like he can stop takedowns. I'm thinking about the Shabazian fight where he was just getting taken down relentlessly. So he's got okay takedown defense, I think. I don't think Kevin Holland's going to want to do that. I think these guys are going to stand and bang a little bit. I think that Holland's length is going to play a pivotal part of this fight there. I'm a little bit worried if it goes on late, because I think that Darren Stewart, like, he's game across the 15 minutes, and if Holland can't hurt him initially, I think that that Darren Stewart will maybe gain a little bit confident. He's always going to be live in this fight, in my opinion, Darren Stewart. But for me, I like Kevin Holland. I actually like parlaying him up a little bit with Mayra Bueno Silva. I was thinking about TJ Laramie, and I was like, no, give TJ a couple of fights in the UFC to see where he is, and then see if the lines are kind of big or whatever. But I kind of like Kevin Holland, and I know I've been in that sweaty position before, but I'm going to go back to the well this time. I think I'm going to parlay him and Mayra Silva up in that one there. But yeah, it's a little bit sweaty, but I like it. I think it's close to plus money here in the UK, so that's probably the bet I'm going to make after this video here, is that one. Mackenzie Dern against Randa Markos. You guys that are in here, I want to know who you guys have got here, because I really do think Randa Markos is live in this spot, and I love Mackenzie Dern. I've been a big fan of Mackenzie for a long time. Through her jiu-jitsu, I heard her coming through there and her early time in UFC, and I'm a big fan of her now. I think she has got potential, but I think that the value is probably in Randa Markos' side here. I hate what's going on with Mackenzie Dern, with, like, she's jumping camps. She was at the lab, something went on there. I don't really know the full story of that. She went to Black House. I watched James Lynch and John Young Ko's video, and they interviewed her, and they says that her husband had a falling out with the Muay Thai coach at Black House. We all know what Randa Markos, I mean, she's a tough girl. She's been there in the UFC for a long time. She's one of these girls that kind of trades wins and losses, is a hard out for a lot of girls, very competitive in kind of every area. She's coming off that loss to Amanda Hebas there, where she gave a good account of herself, but she really kind of did get beat up a little bit. But, I mean, her wins aren't necessarily great. The win over Angela Hill I thought was okay, if I'm being honest with you. Angela was a little bit unlucky, I thought, last week to lose that fight. I had some money on her as well, but lost to Gadelia pretty convincingly. We all know if this fight hits the mat here that Mackenzie is very dangerous, and you've seen that against Hannah Cyphers, but Hannah Cyphers decided to jump into her guard, which was stupid, and get her leg taken. So On the feet, you've got the power. I think both girls have got fairly decent serviceable power. I think that Randa's a little bit more technical, a little bit more crisp with her striking. I think that Mackenzie just really dials it up and throws some big haymakers. Hopefully, Jason Borella, who she's been working with, is trying to get that out of her, because I think if she was to get a little bit more crisper and really crisp up that box, I think she could use combinations to get those big power shots. And you've seen her land big power hits in the past on girls, so she's got that there. And I mean, she is the more credentialed girl on the floor. So yeah, so since she's left, like Jack Attack's asking there, she has, like, so the whole Black House thing, I don't know what exactly happened with her husband. She's moved over to the RVCA gym in California, and she's now working with Jason Perillo. So yeah, I seen that sparring with Chito Vera as well, so she's been getting half decent looks. I think betting wise, if you're on this fight and you want to bet it, I think you have to bet the Markos side. To me, I'm going to lean with Mackenzie Dern. That's my kind of gut feeling on the pick. I would like Mackenzie Dern to win because I am a fan of hers. But I think if this stays on the feet, she's got some big power there. She can catch the nose. Like, you watch Randa Markos' fights, and she gets hit a lot in her fights. Like, her nose is always red initially. Her cheekbones are always red initially. So it's been said Dern hates to train. I think that's probably a good thing. Like, probably a very much a true thing. Betting Markos there, so people are out there. Cowboys getting knocked out simple. I keep hearing that. I've had people message me that all week. Could very much well happen, but I'm gonna take Mackenzie Dern. I think she actually wins the decision. I think that Markos will fight tough, but she will lose a close decision here. So moving on, Johnny Walker against Ryan Spann. You guys know, if you've been around my channel, watch my videos with Johnny Walker fights, I've been saying from the minute he came into the UFC, I am looking for the perfect spots to fade this guy. And I waited for the first few fights until he got that big jumping opponent. He got Corey Anderson. Now, nobody out there was picking Corey Anderson via knockout. If you are and you bet it, show me the ticket, because you deserve a hell of a lot of respect for that. I bet Corey Anderson straight at plus 155, I think it was. And I was confident he could get it done there. And then I went and did it again against... who was against? Nikita Krylov. I think Nikita Krylov... I think I got Nikita Krylov at like plus odds at that one as well. So super surprised. The hype train, in my opinion, is done. He had all the trouble with the people that he came into the UFC with. There was someone regarding hookers in New York. There was all that... there was all that drama there. He switched camps. He went to TriStar. Now he looks like he's punted TriStar and he's went to SBG. I've never been in the Johnny Walker hype train, but Ryan Spann last time didn't look that great against Sam Alvey. Although Sam Alvey is very, very tough to fight, because really all Sam's got is a big right hand. And he's always live there. And he started to come on into that fight and really put it on Spann, which was a little bit of an eye-opener. Yeah, I'm going to fade Johnny Walker again, even though he is super, super explosive. And in that Krylov fight, he showed a little bit of heart, which I quite liked from Johnny Walker. I've just never been high in the guy. And Ryan Spann, to me, I think he's the better athlete. I think he's got explosive power. I think both guys have. I'm a little bit worried that Ryan Spann's chin might be if he catches a big shot. But Johnny Walker, I keep referencing this every Johnny Walker fight, is when he when he got knocked out. I think it was 3 times in the one fight against Klidson Abreu. And he kept getting hit, and then he kept going back down. He looked like he got knocked out 3 times, so he can be hitting the chin. I think Ryan Spann's he's actually a black belt on the ground, so if he gets it there, I think he's got an opportunity to get the guy out of there. So, like I say, a risky kind of pick. I was thinking about betting Ryan Spann. I might still, even though it's the plus money still there. Plus money's still there, but it's pretty much a pick 'em now. I'll probably stay away from that one if I'm being honest with you. But I'm going to take Ryan Spann. I actually think he wins a decision here with the opportunity to potentially get a knockout. But I'll take Ryan Spann for the win there. Khamzat Chimaev against Gerald Meerschaert. First of all, I want to say I hope Gerald Meerschaert wins, for the simple reason that I really think it's disrespectful they're trying to make a fight with Damian Maia a couple of weeks in Abu Dhabi. I don't like that, especially with someone like Meerschaert with all his experience that he's got, and he's a hard guy to face. He's beat some prospects in the past that Darren Wen and I think it was Sidney Wheeler back in the day. So yeah, but when you look at Gerald Meerschaert, like, the guy likes, or he doesn't stop takedowns. And you know what Khamzat's going to come out here and do. He's going to run straight in. So Gerald Meerschaert's got a 46% takedown accuracy. That's not good against Khamzat, because we know what he's going to do. And from what I've heard from a few people that have been round about him, like, this guy, his striking's okay, and it's something that's always kind of getting better, but his grappling is next level. And if Gerald Meerschaert, can stop any takedowns here, he's a live fighter, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, he is a very good black belt, is Gerald Meerschaert. But we've seen him controlled in the past on the ground by certain guys. Khamzat, to me, has just got that, like, never say die attitude. He's going to get you to the ground. He's going to find a way to just hurt you in any spot possible. It's a big step up from what he's faced in his first 2 fights in the UFC. I am interested in Khamzat. Like, I know I'm a little bit annoyed about the kind of disrespect being showed to GM3 trying to book him another fight, but when you see the talent that Khamzat's got, if he comes out here and just blasts through GM3, then the hype's maybe a little bit warranted here. But like I said, I would like Gerald to win the fight. I think this fight will hit the ground. He might stay tough for a little while. So I've got Khamzat, maybe early round 3 TKO in that one there. But someone said Khamzat via decision. What is the odds on that? Because that must be a fairly decent price. Let me bring that up, guys. Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat via decision. It's not there. That's weird. Oh. Right, that's really weird. Khamzat by decision is not there. That's a little bit of a surprise. So I'm going to take him for the win there. So sorry about that, guys. Donald Cerrone against Niko Price. Again, if you guys have been around my videos at all, I am not a Niko Price guy. I think he is a low percentage threat at the best of times. He's just a guy that, I don't know, he weirds me out. I don't know, I cannot get a decent read on the guy. He's so weird to me that he just... but as a fighter, he's obviously got power. He's very confident in what he throws. And against someone like Cerrone, he is definitely fallen off rapidly. This is a major come-down spot for Donald Cerrone, in my opinion, when you've been facing the guys like your Gaethje and your Connors, and I know Connor knocked him out with a shoulder strike pretty much. But to me, Niko he's just so low percentage with his knockouts. But like with Niko, I watched his fight with Tim Means, and I'm probably a little bit salty with that fight for the simple reason I bet Tim Means there, and Tim Means was absolutely beating his ass in that first round. Then just like that, overhand right, and he fucking folds Tim Means. Then he went in against Jeff Neal, gave as good as he got. Eventually got knocked out by the guy I think is going to be a challenger at the top of that division if he ever gets healthy. James Vick, I mean, how many up kicks do you see, knockouts with that? Even though it was brutal and it was brilliant actually from Niko Price. It's still very low percentage there. Vicente Luque, he gave a good account of himself there, but to me he was getting picked apart that entire fight. I just think that, do you think Tennant got robbed? I thought she was very unlucky in that fight, honestly, Jack. Yeah, just watching that fight. That Daniel Wolf, I don't know why they're signing her. That's just a typical Dana White dick move, if you ask me. You've got the baby swag with Donald Cerrone. He obviously had a kid last week there. I don't know. I think that Niko Price has got like 5 or 6 kids to pay for. Like I say, if it's interesting here because Niko could literally end this fight at any moment with one big strike because he can hit hard for the entirety of the fight. If you're picking apart their skill sets, there's only one big better fighter in that spot, and it's Donald Cerrone. Maybe not as much nowadays because Donald is definitely depleted as a fighter, but this is definitely to me a come down spot, and I've put my hard earned money on Donald Cerrone here. So I put my money where my mouth is. I've had people who've looked at my Bet MMA and the bets that I've made there and says, "What are you doing betting this fight here?" And I'm just like, this kind of reminds me of some spots with Donald Cerrone I've bet in the past where like he's been a plus money underdog and he's came through against Alexander Hernandez. Now, Alexander Hernandez was green. Shouldn't really been in there at that point with Donald Cerrone. But to me, I think if he avoids the big fight-ending shots, I think he can pick apart Niko Price. I think he's faster. For the most part, he is taking a step back. But if Niko hits that chin even once, oh, it's a risky one. I've already got my money down. So, yeah, I like Donald Cerrone to get this done here. I just don't think that everybody seems to be on Niko Price. Who's betting Niko Price at plus money, minus money, by the way? What is he? Minus 150. So that line's coming down a little bit. If you can get, what minus 135, you might be on Niko Price. I know there's some people wanting to bet Niko Price, but they're waiting for the line to come down. I don't know if you guys think the line will get shorter than that. But like I said, I'm on Donald Cerrone in that one there, so yeah, I might as well just stop talking about it. I've got my money down. I think Donald can win over 15-minute spot in this fight. So yeah. And the main event of the night, you've got Colby Covington against Tyron Woodley. This fight, I really wish it happened 2 years ago. See, if I'm being honest with you, I've probably been a sucker and absolutely bet Tyron Woodley to beat Covington a couple of years ago. But thankfully, the fight never got made, and I probably saved myself some money. Yeah. Colby Covington, again, I'm not a big fan of Colby Covington. It's not like I'm not a fan of Colby Covington. It's just his shtick. It's just not for me. But Tyron Woodley, to me, if he has to come out here and pressure and push. Don't let him because like he's looked like an absolute shell himself against Kamaru Usman. I can see why that could happen because Kamaru is the best 170 fighter in the world, and then you've got Gilbert Burns that came out there and pretty much did the same. But to me, when you look at this fight here, Colby doesn't really have to. He's got to avoid the power shot, in my opinion, because I don't see Woodley wanting to wrestle with him. Colby's the one that's going to be pushing the pace. Yeah, Colby's the one that's going to be pushing the pace. He's going to have the output. I'm just interested to see how he looks because obviously he left American Top Team. He went to MMA Masters, which I think is going to be. I actually think it's going to be a good thing that he's left American Top Team, even though he probably hasn't got the same caliber opposition to kind of really spar with. But there's probably less drama in that camp. He's probably getting more one-on-one attention to himself there. And when you look at Colby Covington, I mean, he was running Kamaru Usman very, very hard in that fight, and then he keeps blaming Mark Goddard, but I thought it was actually a pretty good stoppage in my opinion. I thought it was a little bit warranted. I thought he was taking unnecessary shots, even though a couple were kind of close to the back of the head. But he fought very valiantly in that fight against Kamaru Usman. Now he's got the Woodley bounce back. Yeah, Woodley's just not looked the same. If you guys, I've seen a couple of you in there picking Woodley. If you're laying the money down, all the best to you. I'm not going to be betting this fight. I'm going to be sitting back and watching it. I think Colby just has more output. I just think that I just think Covington's going to do more over the 25 minutes fight. I don't see him getting Woodley out there. I don't see him like being super dominant, but I just think Woodley's completely out of there. He reached his point when he had that belt. He got his money. He was bragging about, I think, buying mansions and cars and being on TV shows and being on TMZ podcasts. I think that I think Colby will win this fight pretty considerably. I think that he gets it done. I don't want to say easily, but I think convincingly is what I say there. So that's my fight picks there, guys. I've told you a couple of bets I'm going to make, whether they're good or they're bad. At the end of the day, it's my money, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is from it. So that's a good thing that actually Goob said a bit shaky from the fractured jaw. That's actually a good thing there that he's actually brought up. But yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind shots on Woodley in this spot. I think that Covington just does more across the 25 minutes of the fight. I don't think that he should really. Picking Colby, rooting for Tyron. That's pretty much where I am. Yeah, picking Colby, rooting for Tyron. What are you guys saying bet wise? Who you got for this week? Let me know quickly before I go off. Where are we next week? By the way, Colby decision prop is minus 150. Might not be too bad at that. I might look at, and this is something I always look at, is Colby rounds 3, 4, and 5. No, rounds 4, 5 in decision is something I might look at. So, Rose Clark, Holland. I'm on the Holland side. I quite like that. So, I'm just happy we've got a load of fights this weekend because, like I say, we had 7 a couple of weeks back. That was rough. Yeah, like I say, I'm looking forward to Fight Island. Who you guys got in Adesanya Costa, actually, by the way? Because I'm a big Paulo Costa fan, but I think that Israel might just be a little bit too much. But I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to wait and see. I think he can maybe pick Paulo Costa apart. That's something I'm going to watch more of that over the weekend and see kind of how it goes from there. So, guys, I appreciate everybody that's in the chat there, whether you agree with my picks, whether you don't. Much respect to you guys after the day I've had today to come in here and just speak a little bit with you guys about some fights and let me know who you're on this weekend. I do appreciate that. So if you've been sticking around for the last 42 minutes, all the very, very best. I'll catch up with you next week for UFC 253. Thank you very much. If you can throw a thumbs up, it'd be much appreciated. So all the very, very best. Take care, guys, in the chat. All the best. Thank you.